Lagena and his team have found a new clue that may finally prove the existence of the Oak Island treasure. This discovery is not just another ancient artifact. Rather, it is an odd symbol connected to the history of ancient Europe. The team never anticipated discovering this because it serves a far more significant purpose than anyone could have imagined. In an old church wall, the crew discovered a cross with 4 dots, indicating the influence of the Templars. When looking more closely at the church's history, it became evident that this area had once been a sanctuary for the Knights Templar, the same group thought to have transported unfathomable wealth across the world. Their belongings had been hidden in symbols, waiting for the right eyes to uncover them. This exact design had previously been seen on the notorious H-stone found on Oak Island. It is likely that this was not just any old symbol, but a marker used by the Templars to highlight significant locations. Rick and his group are taking this action because they are focused on genuine, indisputable connections, rather than merely ancient folklore. If the host stone bears the same markings as this ancient Italian church, it indicates that the Templars not only made their way to Oak Island, but may have left something worth hiding. The more you learn about Oak Island's past, the more obvious it is that something significant is buried there. But history has a way of preserving its greatest treasures over time. The discovery of a Masonic compass etched into the stone also raises questions about the Freemasons, who have been involved in almost every significant excavation of the island since the money pit was first discovered in the late 1700s. Every attempt to discover the truth has been beset by innumerable traps, cave-ins, and odd incidents. It's likely that these setbacks weren't unintentional, but rather that some ancient or contemporary force was keeping the wealth secret. What does it imply for Rick Lagena and his crew if the Freemasons have been observing, directing, and halting previous treasure hunters? If so, will they be permitted to discover the ultimate truth? The real question is, who else is aware of this? They have found a host stone that appears to be more than just a carved rock. Some people think it's a symbol or clue, while others think it's leading to something much larger. This isn't just another dead-end lead, though. It's a direct connection to something that has been concealed for generations. They have traveled hundreds of kilometers from Oak Island to a secret cave system in Italy in search of answers. The Camerano underground tunnels were dug by an ancient culture more than 2,000 years ago, and the Knights Templar, who were said to have concealed wealth, later used them. One of the marks could be this cave. The lead cross on Oak Island and the design of one of these tunnels are almost the same, which some would argue is a coincidence, but the crew doesn't believe it. Some of the engravings in these caves correspond to symbols on Oak Island that lead to the Venus Cave, an underground cavern with an entrance shaped like the lead cross from Oak Island that looks uncannily similar to something from a Templar legend. Having studied these caverns for more than 50 years, one of the team's leading researchers is certain that there is a relationship. Another startling discovery is that the team is taken to Osso, another cave system close to Camerano. There, the engravings are far more intricate and display symbols that are precisely the same as those on Oak Island. Peter Fernetti has discovered an ancient carving that resembles the one found on the host stone near 100 years ago. The host stone, which was discovered on Oak Island back in the 1920s and has long been associated with the strange presence of the Knights Templar, has long been linked to the strange presence of the Knights Templar. If this carving is truly connected, everything we thought we knew about the Templars may have just taken a massive turn. The Oak Island legend centers on the discovery of a hidden message left behind by the Templars, Lagina, Alex. In their hunt for answers, Peter Fernetti and Doug Craw arrive at Morm Abbey, a centuries-old monastery established by Korean monks in the 12th century. These monks had close ties to the Templars, exchanging resources, knowledge, and perhaps even their most pressing queries. A strange scene catches their eye: ceramic containers that are positioned over the facade. 2 of these containers have markings that resemble the 4-dot cross card embedded in the host stone, which has been connected to Templar sites throughout Europe. These characteristics strike an all too familiar chord. The team's investigation shows that the host stone has always played a significant role in the legend surrounding Oak Island, but its meaning is still unknown. If the Templars left their mark here, they may have left a trail behind a well-maintained Templar hideout. Another noteworthy find is a painted representation of the Tree of Life, a sacred symbol frequently associated with divine knowledge. This is not just any religious artwork. It was also spotted in a 14th century Templar prison in Dom, France, where the knights were held captive before their order was dismantled. The significance of this symbol cannot be ignored, and further research shows that the Templars left behind cryptic symbols etched into the walls of their prison cells. The discovery date is important because it implies that the Templars were concealing something precious, maybe in anticipation of their own demise. Even more questions are raised by the discovery of a Templar-era cross on Oak Island. If the markings on the host stones correspond to symbols discovered in Mirando Abe, it's possible that the Templars were aware of the New World long before Columbus did. If they did make it to North America, what specifically did they bring with them? Finally, Lagina is poised to demonstrate whether the Oak Island riches is genuine or just another dead end. For many years, experts have been examining the enigmatic formation near Nolan's Cross on Oak Island, with some people thinking it represents the location of a hidden treasure. Strange carvings, ancient artifacts, and even signs of a lost treasure have been found there. In 1981, Fred Nolan, a land surveyor and treasure hunter, found 5 enormous cone-shaped boulders on his property. When these stones were mapped out, they formed a perfectly symmetrical cross that stretched over 700 feet in one direction and over 800 feet in another. Digging deeper, he discovered a 6th boulder that appeared uncannily different from the others, looking like a human head with indentations. Despite numerous scans and excavations, no conclusive treasure has been discovered, leading to theories that the cross was a purposeful marker, possibly a land-based version of the legendary Templar cross left behind by the Knights Templars centuries ago. Another theory proposed that the cross was an ancient symbol known as the Tree of Life, which appears in Hebrew traditions as a representation of spiritual knowledge in the 10 divine principles that govern the universe. For decades, the mysterious marks on the bottom boulder may be revealed by the next find. Physical proof of something buried deep in history has been left behind by the finding of a massive granite boulder on Oak Island, close to Nolan's Cross. The polished base of the boulder suggests deliberate wear and movement. The remaining stone surface was naturally rough. Researchers have long been interested in the discovery of an old dump site on Lot 12 on Oak Island, as Fred Nolan had mentioned years before excavation started, and treasure seekers found decorative hinges, iron nails, square heavy nails, and pottery. These hinges were made to last and may have been pieces of storage chests or crates. The dump site seems to have been purposefully placed to give the impression that trash had been dumped in a certain spot. The finding of elaborate and ornamental box hinges is proof of hidden treasure. Antique chests that were used to keep valuables for ages frequently have these hinges. Questions concerning Oak Island's treasure hunting tradition and the possibility of hidden wealth are raised by the discovery of these hinges. On Oak Island, the team found an elaborate hinge that was intended to contain priceless items. The hinges were believed to be a component of a chest or a chest holding gold documents because they were discovered next to metal shards. Historical reports of missing chests associated with Oak Island, especially pirate-owned ones, according to Captain James Anderson, these hinges may have been a component of his misplaced loot. Near Nolan's Cross, an old stone structure known as a ringbolt rock was discovered. This rock was altered to hold an iron ring that was used to secure ropes or pulleys. Another possibility was the Knights Temple, a group frequently associated with Oak Island's mysteries concealing something of great value. The ringbolt rock, which was discovered close to an old apple tree, was thought to be a component of a covert transportation system that carried heavy items up the hill toward the interior of the island. Its presence indicates a significant amount of human effort, indicating that someone had been moving something big and heavy for a specific purpose. The clue implies that the operation that led to the discovery was covert, and the team is investigating the possibility of something buried beneath the
Oak Island remain as enthralling as ever, including the area's possible link to a money pit. I had a good sense about this lot, especially since there are so many flags to pursue. Are you prepared to get your teeth stuck in? Then we should proceed. A significant ship find alters everything. The Curse of Oak Island's 8th season centers on the discovery of a significant ship that could change the course of the inquiry completely. The gang discovers a polished piece of wood that resembles a handrail, which prompts them to surmise that it was once a section of a ship's railing that was attached to the surrounding stone road. This finding adds to the body of data that suggests the wetland once served as an open seaport. However, a large object is impeding their efforts and keeping them from going any further. The gang remains unwavering in their resolve to explore the marsh, and learn what lies beneath its surface despite this obstacle. Despite the fact that a significant ship finding has completely changed everything. One of the objects that the crew discovers is a polished piece of wood that resembles a railing. They believe it to be a fragment of a ship's railing, and that it is attached to the surrounding stone path. This would provide as another evidence that the marsh formerly served as an open harbor. They encounter a large item, though, which prohibits them from exploring further and learning more. They won't stop looking until they find what's hidden there, since the group is certain that the swamp holds the knowledge they require. During the 8th season of The Curse of Oak Island, a significant shipwreck is discovered and made public. The group finds a significant relic that has the power to change the direction their search will take, which throws everything into confusion. The find raises questions about the ship's history and purpose, while also giving the members new causes for optimism and excitement. The group is more motivated than ever to carry out their inquiry and uncover new clues that could ultimately unveil the secrets of Oak Island, as the mystery grows more baffling. A number of shipping logs were found by the brothers, providing proof that an armada of French soldiers reached Oak Island in 1746. The Duc d'Anville expedition, which was sent from France with the goal of retaking Louisbourg, may have been the source of the artifacts. One of the most thrilling metal detector discoveries on the show happened in the 1st season. Steve Zazulik discovered a copper coin of the Spanish 8 denomination. The object was probably moved there at some point in the 17th century. During the 2nd season of The Curse of Oak Island, metal detecting helped uncover more old coins. Gary Drayton found 2 Britannia coins from King Charles II's reign while walking along the shore. It was hidden beneath a layer of rocks, one of which had the year 1771 carved into its surface, and pyrite. When the crew inspected one of the coins found that season in the episode titled The 90-Foot Stone, they discovered what appeared to be a cross symbol on one side of the coin. The show had the name The 90-Foot Stone. The greatest degree of hope was given to the searchers by this specific treasure that was discovered on Oak Island in 2022 or before. Was it appropriate to utilize it in a financial institution? An episode from the 5th season of the show focused on one of the most significant archaeological finds discovered throughout the course of the series. Drayton and Lagena found a solid lead cross at the seashore after bringing their metal detectors there. It was discovered after analysis that the artifact most likely originated in the 13th century. Additional investigation establishes a link between Oak Island and the Knights Templar in subsequent episodes. Another of Drayton and Lagena's gems was uncovered with a metal detector in the 6th season's opening episode. To search for hidden wealth, they traveled to a region of the island that had not previously been investigated. They moved a big boulder, dragged it up from under it, and found copper in a well-preserved cartwheel 2 pence. Drayton uses his metal detector to focus on a signal, which Lagena uses as a guide to find and unearth a jeweled brooch. Leaded glass was used to make the gem, and gold was utilized to make the other parts of the jewelry. This archaeological gem was uncovered thanks to the use of ground-penetrating radar. It was initially thought to be a crossbow bolt, but an authority on antiquities has speculated that it might have been a javelin, a weapon used by the Romans more than 2,000 years ago. The team finds a metal object in the 2nd episode of the 9th season that appears to be the object they have been looking for since the beginning of the show. Further inspection reveals that only a small fraction of the object is truly made of gold. Through each season, the show explores the exploits of full-time treasure hunters, and the secrets surrounding Oak Island only grow more complicated. For historical research, their findings made with metal detectors open up previously imagined doors, but you can get the same results with your own gear. Always make careful to get permission before searching for anything on someone else's property or on open space. It is widely acknowledged that the discovery of the island's money pit marked the beginning of the history of treasure hunting on Oak Island. The pit, often known as the money pit, is a human-made hole that is frequently assumed to be the location of the lost treasures. The story goes that in 1795, while on an adventure on the island, a group of boys around the age of 13 discovered a dip in the earth. They began digging since they believed it to be a fake hole, and as they dug, they found multiple layers of wood and other things. However, a mysterious flood stopped them in their tracks. filling the hole with water and blocking any further excavation. As soon as word of the discovery spread, treasure seekers from all over the world flocked to Oak Island to look for the loot. The Onslow Company, a group of financiers, organized the first orderly excavation of the money pit in the year 1803. Despite their best efforts, the gang was unable to reach the bottom of the hole, and as a result, they had to cease digging. Many various groups made attempts to unravel the riddles surrounding the island throughout the course of the ensuing century, but they were all in vain. The most serious of these was the flooding of the pit, which made unsafe and difficult further research in the area. The hole was also equipped with a number of intricate devices that, when activated, would force the pit to overflow with water and prevent access to the treasure. Please subscribe and enable post notifications if you want to learn about more exciting discoveries. Despite these challenges, the excavations continued, and the Oak Island Treasure Company was founded in 1861. This specific team was able to dig down to a depth of 90 feet.
On his Oak Island property, surveyor and landowner Fred Nolan found 5 sizable cone-shaped stones. These rocks created a 720 x 867-foot, absolutely symmetrical cross. Fred excavated and discovered a 6th boulder that uncannily resembled a huge human skull. Many people think that the enigmatic boulders on Nolan's property were intended to symbolize a Templar cross, but another theory contends that the boulders were thoughtfully placed to create the Tree of Life, an old Hebrew symbol signifying the 10 spiritual principles found in God's universe. At the same locations around the cross where the Say rock would be, a number of smaller flat-sided stones were discovered. This one is special because it is entirely distinct from the other granite and cone-shaped stones. It is believed that the face, particularly the eye, was focused on a significant location. The group is optimistic that Mike and Mark will share information from the stones that could result in riches or other agenda items for discovery. The crew will begin by examining the bottom of the cross, a granite boulder in the shape of a cone that may weigh up to 5 tons. They anticipate that the knowledge gleaned from the stones will lead to treasure or other exploration goals. After that, the group will examine the cone-shaped granite boulder, which could weigh up to 5 tons, and provide their thoughts. According to the text, a group of stonemasons, including Mark Furr and Mike Welling, are looking for an enigmatic stone close to Oak Island's center. They think they have discovered a crucial clue on the remarkably smooth bottom boulder of the megalithic formation known as Nolan's Cross. This implies that the stone's surface may have undergone some sort of alteration as a result of transportation. Since it would require a lot of dragging to get a smooth finish, the crew is thinking about how to move such a large stone. For the first time since Fred Nolan's passing, the team is thrilled to be conducting fresh search operations on property that is now owned by his family. They now have access to all 16 of their father's acres, including places where Rick thinks among the most significant findings uncovered on Oak Island by Fred were Nolan's Cross and others. Along with ceramic fragments that might be related to the Oak Island mystery, they are searching that region for hints. A cross-section of another piece of pottery was discovered close to the landfill. Since that could be the final piece of evidence, the team is attempting to determine what is the oldest item here. The group is also investigating other mysteries like locating a plan mentioned on Fred's maps, an old landfill, and a piece of pottery discovered nearby. The film concludes by emphasizing the significance of locating hints and the earliest piece of evidence in the Oak Island mystery. The group is keen to carry out more research and discover the mystery around the stone. The ongoing investigation into the missing chest case at the Nolan property in Spain is covered in the film. On Lot 12, close to the center of the island, metal detector specialist Gary Drayton, Charles Baruz, and Jack Bill have discovered something that could be significant. On a Spanish shipwreck site, they found ornamental hinges from chests that might be attached to one of the 3 missing pirate chests. James Anderson, Captain. The hinges may also provide proof that the centuries-old landfill was formerly used for treasure deposits in addition to being used for the initial money pit's construction. Pottery tins and other interesting objects, like the skeleton keys that Fred Nolan discovered, might also be in the landfill. The team is optimistic that there will be solutions to the enigma surrounding the Nolan property, which is a mystery inside a mystery. They will keep exploring the region and finding more interesting objects, like the lost chest, as long as they work with Tom. The narrative concludes by emphasizing the value of researching the past and working with Tom to learn the truth about the case of the missing chest. The Nolan property's results and the hinges discovered may offer important new information for the current study. The group headed by Marty and Rick Lena Craig finds an old dump on L.13 close to the swamp's eastern edge. Tom Nolan, the late Fred Nolan's son, joins them and affirms that the long-aided ring bolt is located on a big stone near the ancient apple tree on the Nolan farm. Tom Nolan affirms that they have found the remains of an additional iron ring bolt that his father, Fred Nolan, had first found 50 years prior. Marty and the group may have verified that the stone walkway feature not only stretches farther into the island's uplands, but it may also be paving the way for a significant breakthrough. The finding is intriguing, since it demonstrates the original depositor's level of effort and the ideal location for it. Dr. Spooner argues that the path's orientation is currently pointing up in this direction, toward the money pin. The team must concentrate their efforts in a certain location in order to find more proof. There are sufficient hints to suggest that this area merits further research. It would appear to be a clear sign of significant human labor on the island prior to the money pit, if someone sought to install a road that could be readily concealed. They need to continue working in order to be assured. For Rick and Marty, the only thing that seemed certain at this time, Craig and his group believe that the more they investigate the Oak Island mystery, the more proof they will discover that a significant event occurred there in the distant past. If it truly centers around a huge wealth, then the efforts to conceal it, the potential deadly force protecting it, and the fabled curse that has claimed 6 lives would have all been justified. Maybe the solutions will be found by carefully excavating one cobblestone at a time, or by drilling and digging in the money hole. At a mysterious triangle-shaped wetlands southern boundary, Gary Drayton, an expert in Rick Lagena metal detectors, and Billy Gart are searching for hints. In 2020, they discovered an 8th century ship's railing on the southern edge, along with ship timbers and artifacts from the 15th and 18th centuries. The team is looking for more proof, especially in light of Dr. Doug Simmons' theory that Oak Island may be connected to the Viking civilization in the Middle Ages. They discovered lumber that might have been boat ribs. The crew is looking into whether or not a sailboat was abandoned in the marsh and who left it there. Early activity was indicated by the Oak Island team's discovery of 1200 AD marsh dates and 700 AD ship railing dates. It's unclear exactly how the mystery will be resolved. Billy excavates the marsh and discovers vertical and horizontal boards as well as a retaining wall or shaft. Fred may have examined this wall after striking it. The group is eager to solve additional swamp secrets. Fred Nolan, the owner of Oak Island and a treasure hunter, discovered a wooden wall or dam in the marsh more than 30 years ago. He believed it to be a man-made barrier built long ago to hide something important. The group is investigating whether they discovered a piece of that construction and whether it is connected to the railing of a 1250-year-old ship discovered nearby in 2020. Dr. Ian Spooner, a geoscientist, will analyze the sediment deep structure. The red material beneath the stone road, which might have existed at the same time as the wooden tunnel beneath the garden shaft, piques their curiosity. It can be older if they see red elements inside and outside the wood construction. The team also needs to locate a loading and unloading facility to connect the stone road. They believe that this site has been active for decades, possibly even millennia. The flat top and circular margins of the swamp woods are fascinating. The objective is to excavate and reveal the structure in order to comprehend its purpose and possibly find artifacts. Marty Lagina and geoscientist Dr. Ian Spooner are looking into a possibly significant discovery in the northern marsh. They discovered a disturbance at the base of a boulder that might have been the marsh where John Edwards formerly lived. Edwards believed that the mechanism that unlocked Nolan's cross was constructed in Billy Gart, who discovered a big boulder on what may have been a man-made rock structure. The team is examining the area to determine if it is man-made or natural. A stick between the silt and the rock indicates that people moved stones to shift water. If they are accurate, this could support Edwards' claim that the marsh was intentionally drained. It appears that the marsh was intentionally altered hundreds of years ago, as evidenced by the cut timber from a massive tree and other tree stumps found close to its base. The team is also examining a large piece of rock-lined wood that was transported here for any purpose. At last, the crew is looking at the prospects for humans in the marsh. They are also taking into account other anomalies, such as artificially reduced water levels. As suggested by John Edward, Billy and Rick are investigating Oak Island's rock-lined depression. A hidden stone feature could be unique. Although the stone circle is thought to be intentional, no metals were found on the stone highway or paved area. It's possible that people visited Oak Island earlier than previously thought. In the triangle-shaped swamp, Fred Nolan found a board with wood running down its length. The crew also finds one. The wood-filled board might have been used to create the brackish bog. A similar stake at a treasure burial site might be inspected by the Oak Island team. Leorard and Craig find it intriguing, but they don't think it's natural. They advise Dr. Spooner to explore the location and see what he discovers. They won't take any physical action until Dr. Spooner shows up because it could change the rules and indicate who was present.